All right. Mr. Lambert, what is your exact job title?
I am the Director of Player and Program Development for NC State Baseball.
So, as an aspiring sports management professional, I'm curious to know about day-to-day operations within college athletics. What does a typical day consist of for you as the Director of Player and Program Development?
Um, Typical day, really hard to call it, I guess, typical. Each day kind of varies depending on where we fall within the season and within the year. So I guess my typical day is get in between 8 and 8:30 and handle emails, typically regarding to games that take place the day before, and then anything that ties into our players, whether it's academic compliant or really any other communication that I'm the liaison to in other departments. And then I spend the majority of the rest of the day handling day-to-day tasks for our head coach as well as the facilities.
So, what is the most challenging aspect of working as the Director of Player and Program Development? Describe some of the toughest situations you faced in this job.
Um, some of the challenges are dealing with the broad spectrum of campus. The program side of my job has me with working with the facilities group, and then also in the process of designing facilities. So it's a bit of a challenge as you continue to try to work through different barriers that exist. That's just I guess a typical work challenge. The other challenge is, trying to manage 35 players on a daily basis with their full schedule academically, and obviously their full schedule athletically as well.
So, according to your LinkedIn profile, web design is a strong skill of yours. How does this benefit you in your specific position with NC State Baseball?
Um, my original position at NC State was director of baseball operations before I moved into this role. When I was in that role, I did what I currently do now, plus the operational side. The web design aspect has some ties into what we do here currently, but the design aspect more than anything is highly involved with our stadium design, graphics, and a variety of all the other designs that take place here on campus.
So, what made you choose this line of work? Did your experience of playing baseball in college and professionally have an impact on your career choice?
Absolutely. When I was released from professional baseball, it was a nice, easy way to ease myself into the working world versus just jumping straight into any other type of profession that was non-related to baseball.
So, what particular skills are most essential to performing at a high level in your position?
I believe the most important skill is organization. Communication is key as well, and then the ability to multitask, to be able to take on a variety of tasks at once, and to make sure you keep a level head with all of them at all times.
So, did you acquire those skills? Did you acquire them through education or experience, or were it a mixture of both?
I'd say a mixture of both. I got my degree at NC State in communications, and I feel that some of my professors here at NC State have really helped me with my communication abilities with a variety of people across all different fields. But then I would also say my experience in playing baseball is attributed to a lot.
Would you say that those skills are the most valuable in the sport management field, or would you say that or which skills would you say are the most valuable in your field?
I would say communication and organization. Those two together make it a lot easier to be in this field.
So how would a college student, or how would an individual who's looking to get into this field, how would they evaluate whether or not they possess the skills needed to perform at that high level in your position?
I would think one way to assess your ability with those skills are, one, your day-to-day life, how organized you live your life and can stay on task with a variety of things, as well as your ability to enter a room and be able to feel comfortable speaking to anyone in it.
What do you find unique about your career field?
It's a unique field to work in solely based on the fact that not many people have the opportunity to do it. I believe, one of possibly two director of player developments in college baseball. This is a position that is heavily influenced in basketball and football. So it's a unique opportunity to be arguably the youngest to do it, but also just one of a select few across the country that programs with a player development role.
So, would you say that there are any educational requirements for the job of the player and program development? Is graduate school recommended, or an MBA, or anything like MBA, or anything like that?
I think an MBA would be helpful, but not mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, the day-to-day tasks have to do with that are more experience-based when it comes to being a liaison to academics, compliance, the ability to look at facility needs. So I don't believe that there are any minimum requirements. I do think a bachelor's is helpful, but may not necessarily be mandatory for this field.
So, did your own educational experiences that you had, did they relate to this field? And what educational programs are you aware of that would be good to have experience in to enter this career?
I do believe that some of my educational experiences have been able to tie back into what I do on a daily basis. Being in the communications program here at NC State, a lot of the different things that I've had to do on a semester and yearly basis, whether it's with our student athletes or with parents, are experiences that I've had. Other programs that I know that are aware that exist, the master's program at NC State in sports management seems to have some common ties that could be pulled in different fields, especially with some of the specific stuff I do on the program side.
What preparation would you recommend, either educational or through experiences like an internship or a part-time job, for an individual interested in a position such as yours?
I would definitely recommend an internship, one or two. One, try to become as closely tied to the director of baseball operations to understand the day-to-day operational needs. And then I believe that internship in professional baseball will also open people's eyes to my specific role as more of a special assistant to a head coach and coaching staff.
How would an individual progress in your field? Like, what sort of advancement opportunities could there be for a professional that's in your position?
I believe the next position that could be rolled through the director of player and program development would be into a baseball administrative role in more of the athletic department. That's not necessarily the standard progression, but I do believe it would be the next step.
How much demand is there for professionals in your field? I heard you say that there's only two. There's only two that you know of, baseball-wise. Is employment outlook increasing, declining, or is it staying the same?
I believe it's increasing. College baseball as a whole is growing rapidly, and the need to have an additional staff member to be able to take care of future facility needs and designs is growing, as well as the need to be able to have additional support staff for the growing coaching staffs.
So if you could do all things over again, would you choose the same profession or the same career path for yourself, and why or why not?
Absolutely. As I said earlier, getting out of baseball was the hardest decision and hardest thing I've ever had to do. So the easiest way to get out comfortably was to ease myself into a baseball business role versus just getting out completely.
And finally, the last question, do you have any advice for an individual hoping to enter this field of work?
My one bit of advice would be do exactly what you love to do and enjoy every single minute, because it's a lot of long hours and it's a lot of time.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.